welcome back once again for the 6th installment of the Gestational Diabetes Prevention and Awareness Training.
Okay, so as you all know, we're talking today about the Toolkit resources and facilitation tips with regards to the gestational diabetes prevention programming. So just a quick little review. So far, we have been together for 5 other webinars, starting with Introduction to Gestational Diabetes Awareness, Gestational Diabetes Management, some cultural teachings from Grandmother Renee. We've had Cultivating Inner Peace During Pregnancy from me, and also Nutrition and Physical Activity During Pregnancy. So as you can see, we're covering a very broad range of topics in terms of information and awareness, but then also the various aspects of prevention and also management in cases where gestational diabetes is present. So the Toolkit resources are awesome. I actually love the Wellness Toolkit because it has so many practical tools in it that can be just utilized in basic everyday life, but also utilized as frontline workers in programming for gestational diabetes awareness and prevention. So in the toolkit, we'll start with the Pregnancy Wellness Journal. And the journal is basically a 40-week journal with information on holistic healthy living and GDM awareness. Lots of the information inside the journal can be adapted to workshop ideas within programming. And just keep in mind here as we continue this conversation that there really is no limit to the types of programs that you can offer, the materials that you can utilize, and the approaches that you can take with regards to not just gestational diabetes, but diabetes in general as well. So it's very modifiable and it's very adaptable. The pages are also, there's also pages provided for reflections on diet and exercise, personal thoughts, dreams, and space that a person can write down questions that they might want to ask their healthcare providers. And it can also be used as a tool for emotional health and mental wellness. There's also a wonderful tool in the kit called the Pregnancy Wellness Booklet. It's divided basically up into 5 sections. And it's really just an accompaniment to the Pregnancy Wellness Journal. It contains lots of information and teachings related to general GDM and women at risk. It talks about cultivating spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical health during pregnancy. Always that holistic approach is the fundamental to the programming. Positions for labor and birth, which are inspired by our traditional teachings, and also prenatal yoga. There's information on delivery meditations, just very simple delivery meditations that one can utilize as a method of pain management and mental focus. And then creating a birth plan while encouraging openness to unexpected changes. So that's a big part as well, because we all are aware of how birth plans are extremely beneficial. It helps to create some sense of security and stability. But then we also have to be open and understanding about the possibilities of unexpected changes. And then it talks about the first food or vaccination by breastfeeding. Inside the kit is also an Infuser water bottle. And this is a great tool just as a visual reminder, first of all, that water is life. We are all born from water. And I like how you can use all of these items, not just as practical tools that they are, but symbols of so many other teachings. And I think that's really important with regards to our teachings and our approaches, is that there's a lot of different avenues that you can take. You can take one item and go off in a number of different directions. So I like the Infuser bottle as a symbol, as a reminder that water truly is life and that we are all born from water. Therefore, it is fundamental to our existence. It is fundamental to our holistic health and wellness. It's also a gift to encourage moms-to-be to make water their first drink of choice. It encourages fruit or herb-infused water for variety and added nutrition. And as we know, water serves numerous purposes within our health and well-being. So that's important to incorporate as well into the education. The portion plate, again, another symbol. It is a symbol of healthy, mindful eating. And it is a reminder to make it sacred. As you'll see in lots of our resources, and with regards to the topic of healthy, mindful eating, we utilize the phrase, make it sacred. And it encourages healthy meal portions So in that aspect, you can go off in, again, a number of different avenues and talk about contentment versus fullness. And I think that is one of the big points behind mindful eating as well. It inspires conversation about food options that can be placed on each section of the plate. Of course, this promotes the importance of having a variety of foods that offer a variety of different nutrients. It also leads to the questions, what is on your plate? Is it real food with spirit? Would your ancestors recognize what is on your plate? So these are just insightful questions that can be introduced to spark conversation, dialogue, reflection, and of course planning for healthy lifestyle changes. It also prompts us to think about the 5 Qs of mindful eating. What, how much, when, where, and why. So again, lots of directions that you can go in with regards to keeping the conversation going. I'm not sure why my PowerPoint's going backwards right now. There we go. The next one is a rose quartz. So there's a rose quartz crystal in the package as well, and it can be carried and used to symbolize and foster good energy. And with that, we mean love. It is known for healing qualities such as emotional release and calming, and it's associated with the heart chakra. It is a symbol of universal energy that is present in every being, everything, and every place. And it's believed to be effective in reducing aggravating or aggressive conditions and increasing our sense of self-worth. So it's just an additional tool, an additional symbol, a reminder, and just having that fundamental understanding that everything that comes from creation is interconnected. So it's just that continued understanding. There's also essential lavender oil in the kit, and this promotes relaxation and peaceful sleep. It is great for self-care. It can be used in meditation as well. Of course, for those that may not have any type of aversion to it or allergy. And then the tote bag itself can be used as sort of a healthy food bag, a diaper bag, whatever one might use it for. But primarily, we want to be able to make sure that the bag is utilized in useful ways, aside from the toolkit. Prenatal yoga DVD. And so, as I mentioned in the exercise PowerPoint last session, prenatal yoga is so much more than exercise. It really emphasizes drawing our attention to body alignment, our steady breathing, and relaxation, which of course all promotes mental focus and clarity. And just to recap the definition of yoga, or the meaning of yoga, it actually means union of body, mind, and spirit. So then getting into the 7 generations Gestational Diabetes Prevention Program Facilitator Workbook that is in the kit, just a note here that it's currently under revision and it is relaunching in 2021. So keep your eye out for that. As far as I know, those won't be actually distributed until the workbook has been updated. All people will be notified when it's available. So it contains a really detailed knowledge about gestational diabetes, and it's intended to support frontline workers who are working with clients with GDM, and of course, more broadly, in the prevention of GDM in our communities. It includes information about prevention and management strategies and sample workshops that can be adapted for use in your community. Many sample workshops that I'll discuss coming up were developed by community frontline workers who participated in the 7 Generations Gestational Diabetes Prevention Program workshop in 2014, with further input from elders and knowledge carriers. So the first section theme is gestational diabetes at a glance. So it's really about how to get that information and awareness to the community, how to inform people in an effective way. And that's going to really depend on the types of approaches and tools that you utilize in this process. GDM itself can be overwhelming to learn about. So aside from common paper resources, be sure to use a variety of approaches and tools to create awareness and share knowledge, because as we know, many people have different types of learning styles. So it really helps to keep it, somewhat interactive and visual. And in particular, you could use games, you could use various interactive materials and activities, and of course, traditional teachings on health, healing, and wellness whenever possible. I know sometimes, you know, perhaps people struggle a bit with finding knowledge carriers depending on the area, depending on where one is from or where certain programs are being delivered. But there are people out there. So it's really, really important to try and incorporate traditional teachings on these subjects whenever possible, just to keep that cultural grounding present. And again, because that cultural grounding is very much a powerful tool in understanding, recognizing, and embracing the interconnectedness of body, mind, spirit, and emotion. Use simple language, key concepts, and various types of visuals, like maybe pictures, video, 3D visuals, and tools. And for more in-depth knowledge, you can always refer to a nurse practitioner or invite a practitioner or diabetes educator as a guest speaker for your group. So the second theme in the workbook is body. And in brackets here, I put earth. I took it upon myself to sort of associate this theme with a natural element. And one of the topics within that theme is nutrition. So when you do get your workbook, you'll be able to go through it and you'll be able to see how it's laid out. And there are facilitator tips. And a lot of these facilitator tips that I'm going to talk about in these next few slides, they can be crossed over and utilized in different types of workshops and initiatives. So these facilitator tips are not just pertaining to the one slide. However, some of them are, because they might be topic specific, such as some of these facilitator tips here. So when doing a workshop on nutrition and the body theme, you can offer various incentives or prizes, such as grocery store gift cards. These are very popular. You can offer coupon workshops, flyer hunts. You can plan group outings for seasonal veggies and fruits, picking, of course, and partner with local farms or orchards. You can coordinate community gardens for women and their families. You can encourage frozen options of vegetables and fruits. It is a great alternative when the cost of fresh food is very high, especially when things aren't in season. You can encourage label reading for nutrient content and also organize group cooking sessions or community kitchens. And in the toolkit, specifically looking at tools within the toolkit that reflect, you know, nutrition and healthy eating, you can find some dietary tracking in the wellness journal. You can find nutritional info in the journal, as well as the wellness guide. You'll find information about portions with regards to the portion plate itself and within the wellness guide. And there are recipes in the journal and the wellness guide, and also the water infuser bottle in the kit, and then information about water in the wellness guide. So I have a workshop sample title here called Embracing Positive Physical Outcomes. This is one of the workshop samples that is currently in the workbook. And just to kind of give you an idea of how those workshops are laid out, there's outcomes. So a couple of outcomes here for this one is to learn more about nurturing a healthy baby and a healthy mom. Also to learn about maintaining a connection and balance with Mother Earth and our own being. So these are just a couple of outcome themes. And this is with regards to the many physical changes that a mom-to-be will, you know, encounter and deal with as she deals with also the ups and downs of hormones and moods and emotions. So there's a lot of directions you can take with that. And for this particular workshop, you might have an estimated attendance of about 10 to 15 women at risk of gestational diabetes. And then you, of course, have to consider your appropriate venue, which may be indoors. Maybe if it's a beautiful season, you can do something that's outdoors. And then for the agenda, of course, you would lay that out appropriate to your group, your community. An example here is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and inspire a discussion on the water bottle and the portion plate within the toolkit. Maybe make your own flavored water. So have different items there that can be used for various types of flavored water. And then, of course, use the portion plate during a lunch that might be provided within the program. Talk about various other aspects of healthy eating, explore a bit about healthy weight gain during pregnancy, and talk about prenatal exercise. And these are just examples of things that can be covered in such a workshop. And then maybe even have a discussion on prenatal stretches, and of course end with a maybe a talking circle, some reflections that participants might want to share about, you know, things that they learned, things they found to be impactful, and maybe things they never knew, right? So just providing a sharing opportunity for participants, and then of course having an evaluation, and maybe ending with a prayer or some purposeful, meaningful closing words. So the next sample that I wanted to bring about is still within the body theme, and the topic is exercise. So some facilitator tips here are to encourage families to be active together. And this doesn't just promote the physical activity, but also promotes connectedness amongst the family unit. Incorporate simple, purposeful activities into existing programming, such as gardening. Ensure healthy snacks are made available during any type of physical activity program, especially about 30 minutes or more before. Research local fitness classes and activities for pregnant women. Perhaps you yourself become certified in some type of fitness, you know, certification or prenatal yoga, something like that. And you can offer the programming yourself, or you can invite a guest in, or as I said, partner with an outside organization to deliver some classes for the moms-to-be. In the toolkit with regards to this topic, you'll find some activity tracking in the journal, and in the wellness guide, you'll find some activity examples, such as the prenatal yoga video, the journal, and again, reference to that in the wellness guide. And then another workshop sample here is, I actually just threw this one in. It's called Walking Our Way to Wellness. And perhaps a wellness walking group could be planned and organized within your program, and combined with a series of workshops. So each session or workshop can be comprised of the walking component, followed by gathering for learning, healthy eating, holistic balance, whatever topics you'd like to integrate into that. Outcomes here are to regularly participate in and feel the benefits of simple and attainable, in brackets, for uncomplicated pregnancies, of course, as we discussed in the last session. Physical activity is highly recommended by health professionals for all pregnant women without complications. So we talked about that. And I think that's an important thing to sort of keep repeating, because some people believe that if you haven't been active, that it's dangerous to participate in physical activity, and that's not true. Unless there is actual complications, then generally speaking, physical activity is very good and beneficial for everyone. So the objective here, the outcome, is to regularly participate in and feel the benefits of simple and attainable physical activity and basic stretches. It is also to stay in a path of learning, setting intentions, and doing. So carrying out the action component of our plans, the action component of our goals. Estimated attendance here could be 10 to 15 women at risk of gestational diabetes, perhaps even those that are living with gestational diabetes. Of course, the venue here would be an outdoor setting, maybe trail, park, somewhere that just really allows that connection to the beautiful outdoors. And then the education or gathering component could ideally be held in a space within the organization. And you want to, of course, determine a suitable time frame that works for participants. So I didn't set any set time frame for an agenda. But I mean, typically, a lot of our programs have been about 2 hours long. Just depends on what you're planning to cover. And again, the time availability of all the people and the participants. So part one of the session could be the walking component, and then coming indoors or staying outdoors and doing some gentle stretches afterwards. And then part two of the session could really rely on the, or kind of encapsulate the education and the learning section on any one of numerous aspects of holistic wellness. So again, maybe end with a talking circle, some reflections, opportunity to speak and share, an evaluation, and a closing prayer or good words. The next sample here, and remember there's other samples in the workbook as well, but I just picked sort of one sample workshop for each topic. And of course, those topics falling within the themes of body, mind, spirit, and emotion. So this one here, within the mind theme, I associated that with water. And it's, you know, you don't really have to think too much about the natural element. It's just, I like to include it just to continue to reiterate the importance of connection to creation, harmonious balance, you know, just existing in harmony with creation and having that reciprocal relationship. So they're always reminded of caring for our environment, but also caring for ourselves and our families. So the topic here is education under mind, and some facilitator tips again is to initiate lots of discussion about diabetes screening and the importance of GDM awareness and prevention. And for first-time mothers, perhaps have some mothers come in to share ways in which they have adapted to parenthood, host workshops, educating mothers to be cautious about internet research, because again, if we're going to get you know, education and information, we have to make sure that it's reputable information. And a lot of times people will become very engulfed in looking up information on the internet and not actually having a reputable, consistent source of accurate information from healthcare providers and from various other supports. Maybe invite a diabetes educator or nurse practitioner in to teach women about glucose monitors and insulin needles, and also maybe facilitate self-monitoring discussions. So in the toolkit here, there are references to health and support team within the wellness guide and the journal, and then of course testimonials or stories within the wellness guide and journal as well. And a workshop sample here is ages and stages. You notice that a lot of the workshop ideas are very broad, and they include a lot of those concepts within our cultures about cyclical, you know, the cycle of life, right? Including all ages in the life cycle, and just continuing to remind and emphasize about the interconnectedness and the continuity of all of that. So I think it's really, really special in that sense, because I find that when people start to become more aware of these concepts, that it does provoke or inspire a sense of inner well-being or a sense of attention to one's own holistic well-being. So it's all very much interconnected. So some outcomes for ages and stages: develop healthy relationships, understand male or female stages of life, going through the child and the youth, the adult, the elder, learning about traditional roles and responsibilities, and also modern realities. So how do we fit into all of that, and how do we balance all of that? In our Indigenous communities, we sometimes say, and I feel like we're walking in two worlds, because we have that responsibility to, you know, to keep our teachings alive, to embrace and value our elders and all the teachings that they bring, to revitalize our languages, and to do all these things to honor our ancestors and our ways, but also to walk in the modern world as well. And that can be challenging sometimes, because the modern world comes with a lot. So a whole another set of responsibilities. So it's really nice thought to think about. You can create a lot of understanding and sort of self-exploration and reflection in those types of workshops. So here, you know, there's different things that you can bring into that workshop. Like I said, roles and responsibilities, rites of passage, healthy sexuality, you know, and then doing group activities where each group gets together and they have these conversations, and they bring all of their ideas together at the end. So maybe, you know, one group member will be a note taker, one group member will be a timekeeper, and another one will be the presenter. And they all come forth at the end, bring all their information to the forefront about, you know, reminders about roles and responsibilities, and how this instills a sense of purpose, right? A sense of intention. And with those purposes and intentions, we bring about positive, healthy outcomes. So it can be very broad-based, and, you know, come with a lot of different insights. So the next one here is still within the mind theme, and it's called it's the topic of self-care. Want to ensure that women know and understand that they are in a safe space to talk about emotions, use their journals to write down thoughts and emotions. They can plan You can plan self-love and pamper days for women to improve their self-confidence when they need it the most, because we know pregnancy can be very challenging, and depending on different circumstances and dynamics, may be more challenging for some than others. So it's really, really nice gesture to provide these not only informative and educational events, but things that promote that giving back of self-love. Explore various coping mechanisms with women and have them practice and track their success. Plan crafting workshops, baby book, maybe making baby moccasins or moss bags, and try meditation classes to promote ease and calmness of mind. So there's countless ways to deliver, you know, various types of workshops that promote the message of self-care, and making sure that that practice of self-care is something that is at the forefront of one's mind for days, years, and days and years to come, because it's something that we should be doing all the time and passing on to the younger generations. In the toolkit, there's reference to stress reduction in the wellness guide in the journal, and then also sleeping tips within the wellness guide. A workshop sample here is feel good, feel great, moms managing stress. So outcomes of a workshop for this topic could be learning about various types of stress and also learning positive ways of coping effectively with stress. And I'd like to add here, just it's not a part of the PowerPoint, but I just want to add here that it's important we understand the different types of stress. And as I mentioned in one of the previous PowerPoints, there's good forms of stress, there's negative forms of stress. The idea is to be able to identify what are positive, healthy forms of stress, and how can we really minimize stressors? How can we recognize stress early and take preventative action? Because I think that is fundamentally important just in general, healthy living, everyday life for everyone. And utilizing various healthy coping mechanisms so that we don't have to get to the point of feeling stress, and that we can actually intervene very early and, you know, experience an overall balanced lifestyle. So estimated attendance for a workshop like this might be 10 to 15 women again, and choosing a venue that is appropriate and having some workspace, and then having various types of equipment available depending on the types of activities you will implement. You know, you might have crafting activities, glue, scissors, bristle board, flip chart for brainstorming and bringing out ideas and sharing, magazines, markers, and of course you'll create an agenda or a time frame that's appropriate again, and always have those house rules and those confidentiality guidelines, making sure that that is a primary part of every group workshop, because people have to feel safe. They have to know that they will be respected and that their information will be held confidential. So then again, you can take this in different directions, such as having a discussion around stress, different types of effects that people experience, maybe how they cope with stress, and learning from one another and sharing that dialogue. Going through new healthy coping strategies, and maybe as a facilitator, integrating a certain activity, maybe a guest speaker that talks about relaxation and how we can induce a relaxation response in difficult times. Also things like meditation, a yoga practice that again integrates mindfulness, mental focus, breathing, bringing together all kinds of healthy coping mechanisms in one activity right there. Creating, having a healthy lunch is always a really nice addition to any group workshop. So you could do a collage depicting how you can deal with stress using some of the magazines or other tools. And then also another aspect of that workshop could be a self-care component. Hand scrubs, hand wax, massage, maybe hair, makeup, pampering type things. And then having half the group do that type of thing, half the group doing the collaging, and then switching. So that's one example of feeling good and feeling great workshop. And again, just keeping in mind that there's always that educational component. So the underlying message is gestational diabetes awareness and prevention. And how do we prevent? We prevent through self-care, we prevent through balance, we prevent through integrating healthy lifestyle practices. The next section here, or theme I should say, is spirit. And one of the topics is traditional teachings. So as a facilitator, you can invite an elder, traditional people to come in and share teachings, and explore the possibility of providing one-on-one sessions as well. As you know, we have our elder practitioner program at IDHC, and they do one-on-one sessions with people each week. You can explore various pregnancy customs with mothers-to-be. You can engage or encourage baby bonding, such as massage, talking to baby, and singing to baby. And I think this is a beautiful practice, and it encourages using voice. And using voice is so beneficial in terms of release, promoting and inducing a relaxation response within mom and for the baby, but also for mom's benefit of using her voice and being able to be more vocal, more expressive, and understanding the importance of that as a release mechanism. Organize simple language classes for women who want to speak their language to their babies. Sometimes people have customs when their baby is born that the very first word spoken to their baby is words in their Indigenous language. So I think, you know, even in cases where, you know, it's really difficult to become a fluent speaker unless you invest like a full time to it, but it's a really, really nice thing to just learn some basics and reconnect in that sense. And it provides a beautiful connection to culture. And in that sense, mom can learn those words and learn those phrases for when her baby is born. In the toolkit, there's reference to traditional themes within the wellness guide and the journal, and also activity examples. So a workshop sample here is Our First Home, We Come From Water. I chose this one because there are numerous teachings behind water, not just the physical, obvious aspects of the benefits of water and our physiological makeup, but also because there are lots of teachings, traditional teachings around water as well. Some outcomes here for this workshop could be connecting the participants with elders, having the elders share traditional teachings about water and healing and how water and healing is related, give the participants an opportunity to ask questions, promote awareness of GDM through paper resources and informal discussion. So this is just showing that you can always include that sort of standard information, various types of resources, but then integrating and connecting that with traditional teachings, wherever possible. Estimated attendance here, just be whatever you feel is appropriate, of course, an appropriate venue, preferably outside when it's a nice season, because it just always gives us that chance to connect to Mother Nature and feel that energy that we get from there. And I think you can't emphasize that enough. I think if we can always emphasize that, that is another beautiful addition to any programming that you deliver. Also, if there's any type of work involved, of course, you might have an indoor venue as well. So an example agenda here is that this might include 2 sessions that are each 2 hours long, teachings and a circle. Of course, provide a healthy meal. I just think always providing healthy meal, well, not just me, but we always provide healthy meals at all of our IDHC programs because it is a crucial component to diabetes awareness and prevention and general healthy living. So always providing a healthy meal is a beautiful addition and an incentive as well. Stretching, swimming, or added elements of meditation and yoga. Again, mix and match, you know, come up with a lot of different components for a workshop like this. Offer evaluations at the end. And of course, a good way to get some feedback and ensure those evaluations come back to you is maybe to offer door prize draw for all completed evaluations. And then closing words, good closing words or prayer. In that same theme of spirit is medicines. So this is a very broad subject as well because medicines, you know, if you really get in depth with this concept, medicines includes a wide range of things. So as a facilitator, you can encourage traditional health practitioners to facilitate discussions on medicines. You can also encourage traditional remedy exploration, so just looking at a lot of different options. Seek out other individuals in the community to share about holistic healing and health, such as reflexologists, acupressure, massage therapy, etc. In the toolkit, there is reference to traditional teas to take or avoid in both the wellness guide and the journal, and also reference to remedies in the wellness guide and there is essential oil provided to help with relaxation. A workshop sample here is honoring the medicines. And this might be a series, again, of 2 to 4 workshops, depending on how deep you want to go into the subject and various aspects you might want to integrate. It is, you know, we're wanting to accommodate several speakers here with various teachings to offer. That's what I find. With regards to medicines, sometimes there's different people that you might approach with regards to medicines and holistic remedies or modalities. So it's nice to do a series because then you can cover different topics and not have information overload in one workshop. Some of the outcomes here is creating an understanding of the sacredness of traditional medicines, protocols, we can teach about teas or medicines to use and not to use during pregnancy, because this is really important. A lot of people think that traditional medicines is very simple, but any traditional medicine practitioner will tell you there are specific things, very specific precautions that should be taken. And then also other natural remedies for overall health, wellness, pregnancy, labor, birth, and beyond. So these are things that can be the outcome of this series of workshops. Again, considering your estimated attendance and your venue. And then a sample agenda here could be 2 hours long, and just determine what's appropriate for your group. Have a guest speaker, have medicine samples like safe teas. Group activity could be medicine preparation under the guidance of a practitioner. We've done ones in the past where we've learned how to make salve. We've learned how to make simple teas that are, you know, good for general use. So those are just some examples there. And also maybe explore some alternative remedies. And then of course, closing with your evaluation and your closing words or circle. The next section theme is emotion, and I associated this with air. So in the toolkit, there's reference to emotional wellness. And as I said before, symbolism of love through the rose quartz crystal, just always promoting that message of love in everything that we do, in all of our program delivery, and even as a participant when we're, you know, participating in an event, or a mom that's participating in gestational diabetes awareness and prevention workshop series. You know, love is the message, right? Because love is going to be what guides our self-care. Love is going to be what guides us to continue to care for our body, for our soon-to-be baby that will be here. Wellness journal also references emotional wellness. And then of course, some workshop samples here that I included in this slide are using essential oils, pampering and self-care, starting a gratitude journal, emotional self-care with meditation, letting go of fear, the baby trail, body, mind, spirit, and emotion. So I got one example here that I thought I would just reflect on is the baby trail, body, mind, spirit, and emotion. Some outcomes here are establishing a positive connection to at least one family member, one support person, such as a nurse or counselor, any type of support person, one partner or friend, and then self. Determine how each woman is supported during her pregnancy. Estimated attendance here could be about 30 people, depending on if you have maybe 6 or 7 women who bring about 3 people as a part of their support team. And the idea here is, again, could be an indoor or outdoor venue, depending on activities that are planned and depending on the weather. And I would think about 4 hours for this session and just determine an appropriate time frame. Do your opening and your housekeeping, your agenda review, share information from each quadrant. So this is one example. This could be a series of 4 workshops, and each workshop could be themed around body, mind, spirit, emotion. So you could share information from each of those quadrants of the medicine wheel with an emphasis on emotion for a workshop. Of course, offer education and activities in each quadrant to facilitate love and positive encouragement towards the pregnancy. So as we know, energy is everything. So in our cultural teachings and in a lot of the workshops that we've delivered, we've emphasized the message of surrounding mom with love. and making sure that we promote that message of having a balanced, peaceful lifestyle so that she can send the most balanced and peaceful energy to baby, because as we all know, baby can experience stress as well. So just continually emphasizing that message of love is so important to keep a healthy pregnancy. The desired outcome here is to really excite and support and surround the mom with love and encouragement about the pregnancy, and just make sure that that whole atmosphere is continually nurtured with love. So here, again, closing evaluation, closing words, and however you feel. I just think that there's always emphasis on that, because we should always open and close our events with whatever, you know, words and in whatever language might be in your area. It's nice to include that, because it, again, promotes the message of gratitude and reminds us that we are part of a much bigger circle. So it's just that continued groundedness and that continued connection to our traditional teachings when we provide a meaningful opening and a meaningful closing in our events. So those are some workshop sample titles there. And you can come up with, I'm sure that you're all probably thinking about other ways to touch on these different themes as well. And as I said, the possibilities are endless. You can really take so many directions with all of this, and it's totally modifiable. So the Gestational Diabetes Awareness and Prevention Program Facilitation, there are of course some very important goals. And the first one is that we all take action by applying our knowledge, our tools, and resources that we've gained. And even we at IDHC are always integrating new information, new knowledge, and always revisiting our approach and design to workshops. Develop and deliver holistic, supportive, compassionate, inclusive programs. Inspire moms to be and remind them of their sacred power to steer a healthy path. And at first I put empower them, but I feel that we all are empowered. We just sometimes, for various reasons, fall away from that, or we forget about our true power. And it's always there. We just have to rekindle it, right? So that's why I say remind them of their sacred power to steer a healthy path. Promote early healthy habit building within families. Cultivate openness, sharing, respect, and unity within the groups and within the families and within the community. Provide a range of resources and refer to appropriate supports when needed. So you might find that maybe a certain mom is experiencing gestational diabetes and she has very specific questions or very specific needs. And that's when it's really important to understand that a referral would probably be necessary so that we can refer them to a CDE or a dietitian or other provider. And then of course, as frontline workers, we're always trying to role model healthy behaviors. And that is the intention behind our programs is to role model for other frontline workers, but as a collective community of frontline workers, we're always trying to role model those healthy behaviors in order to send that message to community members who are utilizing the programs and services. They can see that it's being embodied and embraced. So at this point, I just want to conclude there with my slideshow component and pass it over to Jessica. And as she mentioned, feel free to put any questions in the chat or the Q&A box. So here you go, Jessica.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you so much, Nyama and Gwetch. It's been so great doing this series with you. I'm just going to build a little bit for a couple minutes on what Crystal spoke about. She really shared a lot of great information about ideas for programming and supports, and we really do hope that you have learned something over the course of this 6-month series about gestational diabetes awareness and prevention, and picked up on some different types of information that you can share with your clients who are expecting or trying to conceive or are new parents. All of the topics we have covered relate to the prevention of gestational diabetes and in turn to practices that contribute to lifelong wellness. And really, we see our role as sharing as much information with you in the community so that you can then take that information and share it out to the people that you work with directly. So we do hope that by coming out to this series, you have been, you felt motivated to take in the information we have shared and incorporate it into programming that you offer in your community. Because gestational diabetes is a significant concern and the one that can have lifelong impacts on the health and wellness of the mother and baby. So preventing gestational diabetes is really important in promoting the health of our communities now and in the future. Beyond gestational diabetes, prenatal programming more generally is really important for expectant families. They need to connect with prenatal care and education. They need a reputable source of information that they can count on. Just like Crystal talked about, the internet is full of misleading and poorly researched information if you don't know where to look. And often parents hit the internet first before they look elsewhere. So we've tried to provide a baseline of really reputable information. And that's a really great role for you to play as well in your communities, is a source of reputable and fact-checked information. Beyond that, though, beyond that education, expectant parents also need emotional support during pregnancy from their peers as well as their healthcare providers. And with the state of the world right now, with COVID happening and impacting how we can gather and spend time together, there's a real loss of opportunity for pregnant women to connect with their support networks. Stress, loneliness, and isolation are really a huge concern for a lot of people right now, and pregnant women are no exception. So indeed, your pregnant clients might be experiencing additional stress and even grief at this time as they experience a pregnancy journey that is likely different from the one they envisioned their whole life, you know, where we don't have necessarily baby showers in person and prenatal classes in person. That can be a huge sense of loss. So prenatal programming can really help a woman to feel better supported through these different times and less isolated, and can help expectant families to feel more connected to a community of others with shared experiences. So we know that right now programming can be a challenge. With COVID happening, the ability to carry out in-person programming is often really difficult. In some places it's allowed, in some places it's not allowed. Here at IDHC, we've moved all our programming online and virtual, and you may find that you're being asked to do the same wherever it is you work. Fluctuating public health recommendations and organizational policies can make planning challenging. And as we look into this second year facing COVID restrictions, hopefully they clear up soon, but it can lead to a lot of uncertainty as to when programming can return to normal, and we need to be really flexible about our approach. But I think in all of that, considering how important prenatal programming and gestational diabetes awareness programming is, we need to think, how do we reach out to expectant parents under these conditions? And if you've got any great suggestions or experiences, please feel free to share them in the chat box. We always love to hear success stories. But one way that you can do this is through virtual programming. As I mentioned, IDHC has moved all our programming online all through the last year. So virtual programming really can be a great alternative when in-person programs aren't possible. And there's a lot of options when you go virtual. I think a lot of people just think of the formal. We think of those meetings we go to at work. We think of webinars we attend that are really formal and education driven, and those are great uses for virtual platforms. But I think what we don't always think about is that we can use them more informally as a way for people to stay connected. When you have a smallish group of people in a Zoom meeting, there are opportunities for group conversations and discussions and getting to know one another. And that's something you might consider if you previously had a talking group or something like that with prenatal clients. There's lots of platforms that are out there that can be used to host programs virtually. I think Zoom often wins the day. Many people are familiar with it. It's easy to access. Anyone can access it for free for up to 40 minutes for one-on-one meetings. But there's lots of other platforms like Google Meet and GoToMeeting and Microsoft Teams that organizations are also working with. And all of those can be used, like I said, for formal programs, but also as a way for people just to connect and be in a space together where they can chat. Also, depending on what your availability is at your organization, or where you're able to direct people, there's lots of online learning or training systems or courses available through which you can direct clients to access. So as I mentioned, most programs that you can offer in person can be modified to be offered online with a little planning. So I found a picture there of someone, you know, with their camera set up on a tripod, and they've got the kind of baby doll and they're doing a demonstration. So you can use screen sharing and share presentations like we've done today, but it's also a possibility to show props and show items that you have, or even set up a bulletin board or a whiteboard behind you and draw on that. We've had an elder hang a quilt behind her and pin things onto the quilt as she spoke as a way of connecting with her groups. But really, I think when it comes down to it is that simple is best. Share some important information and allow people to connect. And if you have the capacity, you can support online programs by shipping out materials and resources, either digitally or through the mail, or, you know, if you're local, to a group by delivery in advance of or following a program. So we have seen people, for example, leading beading workshops or crafting workshops and sending out some of those resources that people will need, you know, a week ahead of time or a couple of weeks ahead of time, and then coming together on the screen to work through the instructions and work through the activity. And the other thing to remember is that IDHC is here to help. So we've done this 6-month, 6-series sessions training series, but it doesn't stop here. You can reach out to us if you need help finding a facilitator. We have people on staff, our diabetes wellness team, who can often support by offering presentations. But we'd also like to continue to build your ability to offer these presentations in your community. So upcoming, following this series, we're going to kind of keep going here. They'll be separate from this series, but we'll follow on the theme. I'm going to offer a virtual programming workshop on Tuesday, March 16th, 2021. And it's going to be a casual and interactive workshop using Zoom meetings, where you can learn tips and tricks related to online programming using Zoom meetings, as we sometimes need a little practice with some of the ins and outs of what Zoom can do and how to make it work for us. We're also going to invite our diabetes wellness worker, Natalie Moy, to come back with us here in April, Tuesday, April 20th, 2021, to provide an infant massage workshop that will be open to community members. So for those of you that have participated in our series here, we really do invite you to reach out to us, to partner with us, and invite your clients who are new or expectant parents to join in. So, you know, we create the poster, we create the event, we will facilitate, but this is a great opportunity for you to share our poster with clients in your community, invite pregnant moms or their partners to come and check, or new parents to come and check out an online program, which will be infant massage. And you don't have to do the legwork, we'll do that for you, but you can sit in and see how such a program might be carried out online. We're also always open to recommendations from you about what it is you need from programming from us. Okay, so I'm going to pause now. I've got my slide up with upcoming programming, but I do just want you to know that the chat box is open, and if anyone did have any questions or comments or examples of great programming they've managed to do in these difficult times, that please do feel free to drop that in the chat box for us before we finish up here. This looks pretty quiet there right now, but do feel free to drop anything in there. I myself have dropped in 2 registration links into the chat box there. As we go today, I will just say that we have some upcoming programs. So one is tomorrow, Wednesday, February 17th, our inspirational speaker series. We have Grandmother Renee joining us to talk about renewing our relationship with self, others, creation, and creator. So that will run tomorrow at 10 a.m. and at 7 p.m. and the registration link is there. And on Thursday, we have the IDHC webinar series. Natalie Moy will be joining us to talk about internal dialogue and how our thoughts shape ourselves. So talking about how negative and positive self-talk can shape how we see ourselves and shape our health and wellness experiences. Sorry there, I just dropped the links in there for anybody who couldn't see them before. So we do invite you, of course, to join in on either of those. As you leave today, you will see, as usual, the evaluation form that will be it will pop up just as you leave the session today, as usual. We'll also send the recording around when it's available. And of course, you can follow the IDHC on Facebook if you'd like to know about upcoming programming as well. We really do thank you for joining us for this series. We hope you will keep following up with us. If there's anything we can do for you, you can reach out to me by email. And I do believe that that is it. Crystal, do you have any last words, any final thoughts?
I just want to say thank you very much to everybody for joining us for this last 6 months. It's been quite the journey. Again, I can't believe how fast time has gone by, and I hope that you're all doing very well out there on a personal level. I hope you're all doing well and taking really good care of yourselves as you continue to work hard through this pandemic and probably going virtual as well. It's had its challenges for sure, and I feel like I'm pretty used to it now, and I do enjoy, I do enjoy the virtual working, and I feel like in some ways it's been effective in reaching more people and also in different ways. So, and the availability, that's one positive, one good benefit is that people don't have to travel, and because I know sometimes travel is an issue, right, in transportation. So I know when I've gone places, and normally we're traveling for our work, but with regards to how it is now, people don't have to, get ready and go places. So there are some benefits, and I just hope that you're all, taking the positives from it and taking good care of yourselves and able to implement some good programming. And I hope that you've gotten some great ideas from this last 6 months in regards to these various components of gestational diabetes, awareness, and prevention. So everybody take good care out there, and just want to say, Nyawangoa, big thank you, Miigwech.